And what do we usually say? I'm always a mess at the end here.
I know, I always get weird at the end too. I'm like, Hey, it's Megan.
And Sue in the restricted section.
Today we're going to do our Read Harder book challenge update.
Yeah, which I don't think we've talked about this on our channel at all.
I don't think we have
So
either.
nobody knows we're doing this, but Book Riot every year has their Read Harder challenge. And before we even started our channel, I think, Megan asked me if I wanted to do it with her, and I said, of course.
Yes.
So we thought we'd just do a little update since it's about halfway through the year.
It's a good time to do an update.
To see where we are.
Yeah.
So see which challenges we have thus far completed.
Yeah. So we're also drinking Blush, which is a pomegranate hibiscus wit ale from Mother's.
Yeah. Well, we have not tried this one before. I think it's a new, perhaps seasonal one. And Mother's Brewing is a brewery here in Springfield.
All right.
So let's try it out.
Let's give it a go.
Cheers.
Cheers.
It's okay. It's a little tart.
It is a little tart. Also, I was reading the bottle, and it says, best served during a barbecue or brunch with the squad.
Okay.
So,
It's all right. I'm not loving it.
no, it's
But
not.
it is kind of like a little sour, like
It is a little bit sour.
a gooseberry.
The first one on the list that I've completed is read a horror book. So, I chose Zone 1 by Colson Whitehead. I just talked about this in my May wrap-up video because I just read it. This is a zombie book, and zombies are horrifying. So,
Surprisingly, I have not read a horror book yet this year, so I haven't completed that challenge yet. But I have completed the next challenge, which is read a nonfiction book about science.
nice.
And for that, I read Neutrino Hunters by Ray Jayawardena,
Nice.
which is, just all about neutrinos and what they are and how they're detected. And it was really interesting. I liked it.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I also have completed that challenge. I took it a little different. Took it a little bit different direction, and I read Stiff by Mary Roach, which is about what happens to your body if you donate it to science, basically. So it talks about the various different ways that cadavers are used once they're donated, and I did not like this book. It was not well done at all. Next challenge I completed was read a book out loud to someone else. For that one, I read I Could Chew on This and Other Poems by Dogs by Francesco Marculiano. It's just a cute little book with poems in it, and I read it to my dogs. So, didn't you get me this?
I did.
You got me this, yeah.
Okay, and then the next challenge that we both completed, or we both read the same book for read a dystopian or post-apocalyptic novel. And we both read The Road by Cormac McCarthy.
Yes.
And we also did a review of this book, if you're
Yes.
interested in seeing that. But, I think we both really liked this. It was very deeply sad.
So sad.
But really good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was good. I enjoyed it. I mean, it's really simple, but really well done. Like,
Yeah,
really well done.
And it's about a father and son who are walking across this wasteland in
Ruined.
post-apocalyptic America.
Yeah. It's pretty. And I think we both completed the next challenge on the list too, but we read different books for it. So the next challenge is read a book that was originally published in the decade you were born.
Yeah, and for me, that was The Rules of Attraction by Bret Easton Ellis, which was actually first published the very year that I was born, in 1987. And I recently talked about this because I just read it this month, so it was in my May wrap-up, and I really liked it.
Yeah.
It was quite good.
I kind of want to read it now.
Better than I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did. I don't know
Really?
why I wasn't. I guess because I knew that it was just like a fucked up book with like terrible people in it.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I really liked it. So, there you go.
For me, I read The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. I really loved this book. This was the first Margaret Atwood that I've read. And this is kind of in like a dystopian society where women are subjugated and not allowed to read and basically pump out babies. So it was really interesting. It was really well done. I liked it.
And then I think the next one, we both have the same book again.
Yes.
For read a book over 500 pages long. For this, we both counted A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara.
Yeah.
Which is 814 pages long, I think.
Yeah.
It's a beast of a book, and we also did a review of this. We recently read it, and neither of us liked it.
No.
So
No, we sure didn't.
No.
And if I was going to read it, it had to count for something, so I'm going to damn well count it for this Read Harder
Yeah.
challenge.
Yeah.
Fuck that book.
And then the next one that I completed was read a book under 100 pages. And for that, I read The Secret Sharer by Joseph Conrad, or I could have also counted Heart of Darkness because they're both under 100 pages, but I read The Secret Sharer first, so I did that one. It was okay. I did not like Heart of Darkness. The Secret Sharer was okay. It wasn't anything special, but it was just about a ship captain who finds a naked man just in the water trying to get on the ship, and he lets him up and finds that this man had escaped from his ship because he murdered a fellow crewmate. And yeah, it's a pretty straightforward story, unlike Heart of Darkness, I think. But
And didn't you say Heart of Darkness had some racism in there?
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think that's, people debate on that one maybe, but it seemed pretty racist to me. But
Yikes.
Secret Sharer didn't have any racism, but it was just kind of
Meh.
okay. I was like, meh, that was a story.
That's a thing I read. The next one I think was one that we read the same book for again. This was read a book of historical fiction set before 1900. We both read Quarantine by John Smollins. I didn't mind this, and I think you had a different opinion.
I hated that book. This was one of the few times that we like completely disagreed on something, I think. I fucking hated that book. I just like did not give one shit about anything in it, really. Like the characters were just all terrible, I thought.
They weren't great.
I thought, yeah, and there's like, I never mentioned this when I talked about it before, but there's like, he like half-assed tries to like talk about racism at one point, and just like totally half-asses it. It's just like, cause like the main character, one of the main characters falls in love with a like black girl who's a servant at this house, which he's working for that house as well, but anyway, like he falls in love with her and wants to be with her, and she's like, but don't you care about the color of my skin? And he's like, no,
and that's it. And that's all of it. Like, you know that there would be more fallout from that in that time period.
Yeah, it was just like this totally half-assed. I feel like the whole book was half-assed to me.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. It was kind of like, I'm gonna say this and it's gonna sound fucked up because the book was about like the plague or some shit, but it was a lighthearted, fun read.
Well, I thought, because the back of the book is misleading, I feel. Because it makes it sound like they're like trying to find a cure for this disease, but they're not.
Right.
They don't really care about finding a cure. They know they can't find a cure.
Right. And I thought that the ideas about what was causing it was really amusing, because there was the doctor who was like, well, it's Satan. And then, because it's the 1790s, so that's, you know, whatever. And then there was a doctor that was like, well, there was an earthquake and there's ash in the air and that's what's causing it. And then there was one of the doctors that was like, maybe it's mosquitoes. And so it was just really interesting.
Yeah, overall I just fucking hated it pretty much. And then did we have the same one for this one as well?
Yes.
A non-superhero comic that debuted in the last 3 years. I think this debuted in the last 3 years. I hope it did. I'm pretty sure it did. But we both read Bitch Planet.
Yes.
By, where's the names?
It's like Kelly Sue DeConnick.
Kelly Sue DeConnick and Valentine Delandro.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is about sort of a dystopian society where if women commit any sort of indiscretion, they get sent to a planet that's just a huge women's prison called Bitch Planet.
Yep.
And yeah, I think we both really liked this.
I did, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I would definitely like to continue.
I did see Jean from Jean Bookish Thoughts, I think is her channel, recently read this and talked about it, and she did point out that it's kind of a rip-off of The Longest Yard, which I never thought about
That's really
until
funny.
she said that, and I was like, oh, that's kind of true.
Okay.
But, you know, we'll see what happens in the next
maybe
volume.
it won't be the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we both completed the next one, but we read different books. It's read a book that was adapted into a movie, then watch the movie and debate which is better. So, what did you do for that one?
I did Winter's Bone by Daniel Woodrell. I did a review of this book on the channel and sort of talked about the movie as well, if you're interested in that. Yeah, it's set here in the Ozarks where we live. It doesn't really specify where exactly it is in the Ozarks, but it's somewhere around here, and it's unsurprisingly deals heavily with meth.
Right. It's about right.
Yeah, and it's about a teenage girl who has to find her father because he's put up their house as bail and then disappeared. And so if he doesn't show up, then they're going to lose their house.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I really liked this book. I liked the movie too. I liked the book better. But I liked his writing style a lot, so I'm probably going to find some other stuff by him and read it. And most of his stuff, pretty much all of it, is set here in the Ozarks, I believe.
Interesting. So. Is he from the Ozarks, do you know?
Yeah, he's lived here most of his life, I think. I'm not sure if he was born here, but it says he lives in the Missouri Ozarks near the Arkansas line.
Okay.
But yeah, he's lived here for a long time.
A long time. Long enough to know how methy it is.
Right.
I read for this one Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. I read it on my Kindle. And we actually buddy read this with the girls at the Drunken Library, Sam and Amber, and Erica from the Perks of Books. So that was super fun. I just talked about this in my wrap-up video, so I don't want to say too much about it. But I liked the book. It was exciting, and I liked the story, and it was interesting. But the dialogue was shit, and the writing wasn't great.
The dialogue was really bad.
Shit. Faux show. But I actually just watched the movie again today, and I think this is one of those rare cases where I like the movie better.
Really?
Also, Jeff
I haven't
Goldblum.
seen Jurassic Park since I was a child.
Really?
So, yeah. I loved it when I was a kid.
So good.
And I love Jeff Goldblum.
Mm.
What is it about him that's just so sexy?
I don't know. But
my boyfriend thinks I'm insane for thinking that Jeff Goldblum is attractive. He's like, you're crazy.
Really?
But I'm like, he's so... And every other person who's attracted to men who I've asked, I was like, oh yeah, Jeff Goldblum.
He's a sexy motherfucker.
Jeremiah, my boyfriend, though, thinks that Ron Perlman is like... I'm pretty sure he thinks
Gross.
Ron Perlman is attractive. And he's not.
Not even a little.
He also thinks that he looks just like Ron Perlman. I'm like, you don't
Not
look
even
anything
kind of.
like Ron Perlman at all.
So does that...
I'm like, I'm glad that you don't.
Yeah, Ron Perlman's
This
gross.
goofy looking motherfucker.
Yeah, he is. That head's way too big.
That's why they had him play the Beast. They didn't have to put prosthetics. that old Beauty and the Beast show or whatever it was called.
Oh,
Yeah.
gross. No.
Anyway.
No. Anywho.
Next, I did. The next category that I completed was read a book about politics in your country or another. And for this, I read A Brief History of 7 Killings by Marlon James. This deals heavily with the politics in Jamaica at this time, which set in the 70s. Well, it's partially set in the 70s. Anyway, yeah, this book was fantastic. I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like a fictional account of the assassination, or the attempted assassination of Bob Marley. And it's just like, it's kind of one of those books where it follows several different characters, and you're like, how is this going to come together? You're like, this isn't going to come together. And then at the end, it comes together so beautifully. So beautifully that I'm like, how did this guy, like, keep all this shit straight? And, like, I was just, like, I'm in awe of Marlon James for creating
doing
this
that.
book.
Nice.
Yeah, but I really liked this.
That's
a
pretty
lot.
awesome. The next one, we both read a play, which is one of the challenges. We actually both read the same play, but then I also read a different one because I had read that one first.
Yeah. So we both read The Seer by Ali Smith. This is a play about a couple who's very comfortable in their lives, and they just don't rock the boat ever, and then one of their sister comes to visit and
shit hits the fan.
rocks the boat.
Yep. Shit hits the
Yeah,
fan.
and I enjoyed this a lot. It was not what I was expecting
No.
at all.
Me neither. It went to a weird place.
It
and
went
I liked
to a
it.
really weird place, yeah, and I liked it a lot.
I read Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead by Tom Stoppard. This one, like, is kind of weird. It takes place, like, these two dudes are in the play Hamlet, but it takes place in kind of like the in-between places. I don't know, and I'm not super familiar with Hamlet because I haven't read it since high school. So I found this play, like, a little bit hard to follow. And I watched the movie after, there's a movie from this play. And I watched it after I read it, and then it made a lot more sense. But yeah, didn't make a whole lot of sense to me as I was
Yeah, I
reading
think
it.
plays can sometimes be difficult to make sense of when you're reading them.
Yes.
Instead of watching them.
And that one did not translate well for me, so.
Okay, and then lastly, we both completed Read a Book with a main character that has a mental illness. And we both read The Shock of the Fall by Nathan Filer. And I absolutely fucking loved this book.
Me too.
It was just, I thought, really well written.
Mm-hmm.
And it has like an unreliable narrator, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's a man who has schizophrenia. And he's writing mostly about his childhood. His older brother died in an accident when they were kids, and he's so writing about that. Also writing about the present, just
His
all
life
about,
and his treatment and his illness.
yeah. And I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I loved it as well. It was awesome.
Yeah. And so that's all the challenges we completed. I think we both completed 11
Yes.
out of, what is there, 24?
Yes. Yeah, there's 24.
So we're a little behind, but
Yeah. We still have 6 months.
But we got plenty of time. I think this challenge is a lot of fun, though.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty eclectic reader anyway, so most of it hasn't really been that challenging for me.
No.
Like, these were pretty much all books that I would have read anyway.
Yeah, the same for me. I think the only two exceptions are the read a play thing, because I don't usually read plays.
Yeah.
There's also a challenge on here to listen to an audiobook.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that one's going to be challenging
Yeah.
for me because I don't like audiobooks.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think read a biography might be a little difficult for me as well. I don't read a lot of biographies.
I prefer, like, memoirs to biographies, but
Which this specifically says not
Not
a
a
memoir
memoir.
or autobiography.
I know. Which I've already read a memoir this year, but I can't count that right
Yeah,
now.
I have to.
So
I don't know what I'm going to do for Read a Book Aloud. I guess I could read one to my dog like you did.
that's what I did. We were just hanging out on the couch and I read them poems. And I altered some of the poems slightly to include their names.
Oh.
So they really dug it. I know what my dog's like.
Yeah. The rest of them I don't think will be too difficult. Read a food memoir. I have one. I'm going to read that Jacques Pepin book for that, but...
You didn't,
What?
you didn't giggle when you said Jacques Pepin. You always giggle when
Jacques
you say Jacques
Pepin.
Pepin. The one that made me bristle a little bit was read a book about religion. But it says fiction or nonfiction.
Yeah, a lot of books have religion. In fact, I probably could have Counted Watership down for that because they definitely talk about their rabbit religion a lot.
Rabbit religion. I'm reading a book right now that I'm going to count for that. It's called 3 Parts Dead by Max Gladstone. It's about this firm that basically works on reviving gods. Like when gods die, they go and like bring them back to life. So I'm like,
I might read, I got the Book of Strange New Things a long time ago. I bought that book and haven't read it yet, and that's about like a guy who goes to be a missionary on like an alien planet. So I figure
awesome.
that probably has
That would count.
heavily
Yeah.
dealt with religion.
Religious.
But anyway, yeah, that's what we've done for the Read Harder Challenge. Is anybody else doing the Read Harder Challenge?
We'd like to hear about it.
Yeah, how are you doing if you are?
And if you aren't doing it, you should consider doing it. You can
Yeah.
find this list. Ignore my messy list, but you can find this list of all the challenges that you can like write your books in next to on their website.
Yeah, we'll link it below.
Yeah, so if you aren't doing this already and you want to start doing it, do.
Yeah. And so shall we revisit this beer?
Let's show.
I'm still not loving it.
No, it hasn't really won me over.
No, it's okay. It's not bad, but it's sour a little bit, which I'm not
is.
like. I know sour beers are kind of a thing now. I'm not too into them.
No, they're not my favorite thing.
I can drink a little bit of them, but I wouldn't want to drink a whole one, probably.
No, the sourness makes my stomach hurt.
Which this definitely isn't like that sour.
No,
not at all.
but
But,
there's a
it has
hint.
that flavor.
Yep.
And it's that kind of sourness, if that makes sense. The same type.
Yes, it's not like lemon sour.
No,
it's
it's
like
like
sour beer sour.
It's like
Oddridge.
nothing to write home about.
Nope.
Thanks everyone for watching. You can find us on social media below.
Yeah, if you're not subscribed already, please do. And thank you to everyone who has subscribed. We're glad you're here, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.